Hi, welcome to Rose Opal Knits, a crafty channel. This is Flosstube number 5, and my name's Erica. Hey, how you doing? I'm so glad that you're here. If you are new, I hope you stick around and you like what you see and consider subscribing. And if you are returning, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you're here and choosing to spend time with me. Today is Wednesday, March 1st. And I'm excited to talk about everything that I stitched over the month of February. And I just want to let you know that I am a little bit under the weather. I have a cold with a cough, and this floss tube may be heavily edited because no one needs to hear me coughing and snotting and sneezing. But if you are new, I will go ahead and say that Rose Opal Knits is a crafty channel. There are two of us that here at Rose Opal Knits. My daughter-in-law Daphne and I are usually together. We do a podcast together every other week, and it's a crafty podcast generally, which we show mostly knitting, but we do crochet, and every once in a while we will show off some hand-dyed yarn that we dyed ourselves, or maybe a little bit of sewing or a little bit of spinning. But it's been a while since my daughter-in-law has done any of those things. I made the decision a year ago to stop including the cross stitch in the regular podcast episodes. There were several comments from people who said that they just really weren't interested in the cross stitch. And then there were several people who said, hey, if you just do a cross stitch video, I'd love to watch that. So it just seemed to work out for the channel and my time. My daughter-in-law does not cross stitch, and I do cross stitch multiple projects. I'm not a monogamous stitcher, so it's kind of, I feel, unfair for me to make her sit there while I talk about all things cross stitch. So here I am today with my February update, and I am excited to say that I have a fully finished object, and I will show that. If you have been watching me for a while, you will know that I don't finish very many cross stitch pieces, and I don't fully finish very many cross stitch pieces, but I have a fully finished object and a finished object to talk about today. Also, I don't have any, let me lean forward, I don't have any fancy project bags for cross stitch. I just use these bags from, that's the chart, that I get from Amazon. All right, so my fully finished object is been a long time coming. All the stitching was finished for this back in early October. This is the project. It's a Luca S kit, and I stitched it for my daughter's 6th birthday. So it took me a while to get all the back stitching done. Now, I'm sorry if you hear the yard work outside. There is some going on. Let me show you my fully finished. I gotta reach. And here it is. There. This is a frame. I had purchased a 2-pack of frames from Amazon a couple years ago to finish another cross stitch piece. It was a Dimensions Petite that I gave to my sister-in-law, but this was the second frame, and this project fits well in the frame, I think. I will pop in a picture of what it looked like before I finished it. Basically, I just finished up back stitching, a lot of back stitching, and I added my daughter's initials and the year that she turned 6, not the year that I finished it, because this was to celebrate her 6th birthday. I did make some modifications to the design. It was charted with 4 candles, so I added 2 more for 6. And down here there was a little flower that I left off because I knew that's where I wanted to put her name in the year, or her initials in the year that she turned 6. I also switched out the kit fabric. It came with Ada, and I switched it out for some even weave from Hobby Lobby called Pink Splash. I believe it's Murano Care. I'm not sure it's in here. Let me grab it. 32 count. And I used all the kit threads, and I stitched 2 threads over 2 floss threads over 2 fabric threads. All right. Oh, and everything I discuss will be listed down in the description box below. If I forget to include anything, please leave a comment and ask. I'll be happy to get back to you. All right, now for my fully finished object. I think I did discuss this in last month's Flosstube, how this was going to be my focus on a finish piece, and I finished it. It is Winterful Friends by Silver Creek Samplers. Okay, and I'll show you the finished piece. There it is. I will pop in a picture of what it looked like before for comparison. Okay, this fabric is hand dyed by me. It is a Charles Craft I forget, some kind of even weave, 28 count, I believe. And I hand dyed it with Rit dye. I used a blue and a gray Rit dye, and I dyed that several years ago. And so I also, let me clip this so I don't have to hold it. I also switched out the colors. They're not what the pattern called for. I had a stash of color and cotton because I belonged to the thread club for a year, I think it was, maybe a year and a half. So most of the colors are color and cotton. I did use DMC 310 for the snowman's buttons and his mouth and eyes, but I used color and cotton woolen, color and cotton lima bean, color and cotton balsam, color and cotton bronze, DMC 383, that might be suggested on the chart, I'm not sure. Color and cotton glazed carrots, color and cotton carmine, and then Forbidden Fiber Co. chalkboard. So that's what I used, and I think it looks nice. I think the colors all went well together. I'll hold it up there. I stitched this 2 over 2, and there is something I want to talk about real quick. So I taught myself the sewing method, and I love it. So I used the sewing method to finish this piece, and I also bought new needles, which I'll talk about. I'm sure you may have heard about these before. There's a big sticker on the package, so I'll take them out. Sullivan's Easy Glide ball tip needles, size 28. I bought a package. They're not cheap. They're not cheap. I bought a package with 2, and I used one of these needles to finish out the project, and it just made stitching on this fabric so much more enjoyable. And another thing that I love about the sewing method is that I don't have to keep moving under the, up, down, over the fabric. I just stay on top. And I don't know that it sped up my stitching, at least in the beginning, because I was trying to get used to the method. But I had tried the sewing method before. I'd watched some YouTube videos and I couldn't really grasp it. So I would stitch in hand some, but I would just do the poke and pull, poke and pull. But I watched a video by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and it showed 3 different sewing techniques, and the way she explained them and demonstrated them in the video, it just clicked in my brain. Something clicked, and I just went with it and I started, and I love it. So I will, talk about that as I show the rest of my whips, like which projects I did that way and everything. And I will try to link that Caterpillar Cross Stitch video in the description box below in case you're interested in watching it. I had one new start. It was not a planned new start, but I was feeling like I wanted to stitch something for St. Patrick's Day. My niece is getting married on St. Patrick's Day, and we're all supposed to wear green, and it's just going to be fun. And I was just feeling the spirit of St. Patrick's Day. So I can't show you the chart. It's a free chart. It doesn't have a cover photo, but it's Kiss Me by Nancy Bandzuk. And I found it online for free. Oh, at www.dosmallthingswithlove.com is what it says on the paper. Down here it says you can find it at catholicsprouts.com/St. Patrick Day cross stitch pattern. It was free, like I said, and you could probably get there either way, because I think Do Small Things with Love became Catholic Sprouts. So, but I'll put that in the description box below as well. And it just says Kiss Me, and it has a little clover on it. So Kiss Me with a little clover. I pulled this fabric from my stash. If you have hung out with me before, you'll know that I do not love stitching on dark fabric, but I had it in my stash. I thought it would look good with the green, and here we are. So I am using the sewing method on this one, and it's slow going because it is dark fabric, but that's how far I got. That's the end of me. Part of the M and the E. And I am stitching the whole piece out of Color and Cotton Emerald City. So that is what I'm using, Color and Cotton Emerald City. This is an old tag, I think. It's very pretty. All right, so when I decided that I wanted to try the sewing method, I pulled out Dear Daughter by Blackbird Designs, and I took it out of the hoop, and I just started going with it. So here's the pattern. And this pattern is being stitched on Forbidden Fiber Co. Forest Fairy, Belfast Linen, 32 count. All right, with all the suggested DMC. Here they are in this bag. I'll just show you real quick. They will be listed in the description box below. Here we are. So this is what I did. I'll pop in a picture of where it was before. Basically, I added all this up here, the brown binies and the pink flowers And I stitch all that in hand using the sewing method. And when I stitch in hand, I do roll the fabric, and that's why it's rolling. I did not use the Sullivan's Easy Glide ball tip needle for this project because I didn't have them at that time. And what I used worked just fine for this fabric. You know what I'm forgetting to tell you? My stats, because I do keep the amount of time that I stitch. So real quick, I stitched for a total of 22 hours, 22 and a half hours in the month of February. For the birthday girl, I stitched a total of 3 hours, not just stitch. That includes the time it took me to pop it in this frame, iron it and pop it in the frame. And then for my fully finished Winterful Friends, I stitched on it for a total of 8.5 hours. The Kiss Me, I only stitched on for 30 minutes. And then for this piece, Dear Daughter, I stitched on for 4 hours. And I did have to frog. Like this was the first piece that I stitched in hand using the sewing method, and there were several parts that I had to go back and frog and restitch and just try to get my rhythm. So it doesn't look like much for 4 hours, but I'm happy with the progress. Okay, and then I wanted to pull out another piece because if you've watched me before, you will know that I UFO'd 2 projects at the end of 2022, and I had just decided I didn't like stitching on them. I figured I'd change out the fabric and the way I was stitching them. So I de-kitted them, I UFO'd them, but I didn't frog anything. And I thought, you know what, maybe with the stitching method, I might enjoy stitching those projects. So what I had thought was that I didn't enjoy stitching 36 count with 1 thread over 2. So I pulled it out. I pulled out this pattern, Our Daily Bread by La Di Da. And then I went and I found all the floss that is called for in the pattern. I have all the over-dyed flosses. Or actually, I might have had to substitute one, but I did find the flosses. So what do I have here? The Gentle Art Ginger Snap. Gentle Art Maple Syrup. Gentle Art Tarnished Gold. Gentle Art Dried Thyme. And the Gentle Art Deep Forest. I should have a before picture of where it was, and I stitched on this for 30 minutes. And that's the progress that I made. And I did enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed using the sewing method on this piece, and I'm going to complete it. So that opens up more options for me as a stitcher. And I just felt, felt an accomplishment. Like, I didn't think I could do this, and now I can, and that's great. So I have 2 other works in progress that I worked on in February. They are the 2 kits that my husband bought me for Christmas, which I've said it before. I'll say it again. He never buys me crafty things, and it's just really, really sweet of him to like pick these out. So this is a Janlin kit called, I think it's Joy in the Journey. Yeah, Joy in the Journey. And this is on Ada, on the kit Ada. I'm using all the kit thread and the kit fabric, but I can't really use the sewing method on this because it is so stiff. That's fine. I still stitch it in hand because I usually stiff Aida in hand. But I just, you know, poke and pull, poke and pull. So that's the progress that I made. I'll pop in a picture. And I spent 3.5 hours on this piece. All right. And my last project, sorry, I hit the camera, is another kit that my husband bought me for Christmas. It's a Dimensions kit. And it's called Holding Hands. There's lots of people talking outside. I don't know if you can hear them. I am using the kit fabric. Again, I'm using the kit fabric and the kit floss. And I spent 2 hours and 15 minutes on this one. And let me put it here. And that's my progress. All right, so I'm gonna take a break so I can take care to empty my sinuses and get a drink of water, and I'll be right back with my plans for March, and then I do have some purchases as well. Okay, so my theme for March is green. So I've decided to pull from my whip basket, I've decided to pull out some projects and or leave out some projects from February that I feel have a green theme, or I'll be stitching in green areas. And so let me go over those very quickly. I am going to leave out Joy in the Journey. I'd like to finish this one by the end of the year, so it makes sense to leave it out. And there is quite a bit of green stitching on there. Don't know if you can tell on the screen, but it's a dark green, but it's there. Like all this is green. And I'm also going to leave out Our Daily Bread because there are green, there's, you know, greenery all around here. So I'll be leaving that out. And then the free pattern from Catholic Sprouts called Kiss Me. I'll just show that again. I'll be leaving that out because that's all green. But the new ones that I am, oh, and this is a focus on the finish. This, I'm going to focus on this one until it gets finished for now, in the beginning of the month. But I've also pulled out of the whip pile, I'll pop in a picture what it's going to look like when it's done. It's Soda Stitch and a Green Gables. And this is where I am. Right there. I do intend to take it out of this Nerge hoop and stitch in hand, but I have to take it to my mother-in-law's to serge the edges because they're already starting to fray. And then I also pulled out of my whip pile this piece. It's my oldest whip. It's a Dimensions kit. It's about 20 some years old, I think. And we'll be working on this green leaf here. And I'm using I'm using the kit Aida, and I started it out with the kit floss, but I lost the kit floss, so now I've just substituted comparable DMC colors. And the last project that I have out to work on is another, let me grab it, sorry, focus on a finish, and it is Perhaps Christmas by Pine Mountain Designs. There it is. And right now it is in a scroll frame, a little scroll frame, but I will take it out. and probably stitch it in hand as well. It is on a 32 count. I forget what it's called. Lamb's wool linen, 32 count lamb's wool linen. And I am using DMC. The only color I substituted out was the green, because I didn't have the green that it called for, and I had this green in my stash. It's a DMC color, and I just thought it looked great. So that's my focus on my other focus on a finished piece for March. I'd love to finish both of them. We'll see, because I have new starts planned in April, because April is my birthday month, but we're not going to talk about that right now. All right, let me grab my purchases. All right, so I had quite a few purchases. Some of them were purchased in January with gift cards that I had received for Christmas, and then others I just bought out of the budget. So I bought 2 patterns from Hollis Hands Creates on Etsy. And this is one of them. I bought the Stony Creek Glory to the Newborn King. And I just love that. I think it's gorgeous. I don't know when I'm going to start it, but I had to have it. And then I also bought the Scarlet House Janet Barr Slater 1853. And what I liked about this one was that I instantly could see how I could personalize it for my family. So it says on the back that Janet Barr Slater was born in Scotland, and she and her husband had 7 children. So her last name was Slater, and there's 7 different crowns here with initials. So I'm guessing those were the initials of her children. Well, our last name is Saint, so it would be very easy to replace some of the initials here with my family members' initials for us. So that the 7 up here would be my husband and I, our 4 children, and our daughter-in-law. I thought it would be fun to add the initials of our 4 grandchildren somewhere like in between these motifs here, the peacock and the berry bowls and the vase. But anyway, and then I would personalize it down here with our names, our, our family name, maybe, and the year we got married or something. So this would totally be, personalized for us. And then I bought, reaching from 123 Stitch, I bought another new pattern, well, new to me pattern, from the Blue Flower, Winter Blooms. It had been on my wish list, and I just decided that I wanted to get it and start it in April as one of my birthday starts. And I went ahead and ordered the overdyed floss that the pattern calls for. Aren't those beautiful colors? Oh, somebody's upset outside. And I also went ahead and ordered some fabric. So let me mention this real quick. So a new podcast on the scene, over the last month or so. And, so obviously it's new to me, but I don't think it'll be a surprise to most people because they are widely popular. But the podcast is called The Antique Needleworkers. And I just love them. Like, they make me so happy the whole time I'm sitting there watching them. It is like a pleasure, complete joy just to listen to them talk. And they were discussing, like independently dyed Aida and how soft it was and how it was surprising, how surprisingly nice it is to work with. Now, I don't mind using Aida. I'll use the stiff stuff that comes in the kit. So I purchased Fiber on a Whim, 18 count hand-dyed Aida in cappuccino. I don't want to take it out of the bag. I need to wrap this up. But I purchased that, and then I made some other purchases. Not from 123 Stitch. So I purchased from To Dye For Fabrics on Etsy this very vivid hand-dyed Ada. This is a 14 count Ada, and I don't think it has a name. I think it was a one-of-a-kind. So, but isn't that just beautiful? Look at those colors. I don't know what, maybe I could stitch something monochromatic on it. I don't know, but my goodness, so pretty. And then the ladies of Antique Needleworkers podcast, their local needle shop is Keepsakes, and they were talking about keepsakes, and they showed this pattern, the bluebird pattern. So I went to Keepsakes because they have an online shop now, and I ordered the Ada that goes with the bluebird pattern. And I would like to get the bluebird pattern, but you know, budget being what budget is, I decided just to get the Ada. So I bought 18 count Ada. It's Atomic Ranch, and the color is Frieze, I think. But so that's that, and it's really pretty too. So I just have this for my stash. But then I also bought more linen. So I went on the cross stitch nook on Etsy, and I purchased 36 count, who am I? 36 count Salt Rock by Color and Cotton. And then I also purchased from the cross stitch nook Picture This Plus 28 count linen in, now I looked at this up to see how to pronounce it, Tycho, and the internet can't even agree. So it says you could pronounce it Tycho or Tico. Who knows? But it's very pretty. Both of them are super pretty, and I'm excited. I want to sit down. I'm going to take a couple hours one day and sit down and pull out all my patterns and all my fabric and just kit some things up, make some plans. I'm trying to think, who else have I been watching Flosstube wise? Oh, I enjoy watching Laura Stitching by the Shore. She actually is in the state of Delaware also. We're about an hour away from each other, and we've never met. But she is in Delaware also. I'm in Delaware. She's in Delaware. And another person I enjoy watching is Stitchy Rach. She is not in Delaware. She's not even in the United States of America. She's in the UK, but I enjoy watching her, and she recently started knitting, and I of course love knitting. So she now shows knitting on her podcast. So if you haven't checked any of these floss tubes, I call them podcasts, but if you haven't checked it out, any of these floss tubes on YouTube, check them out, give them a try. And until I see you in April, I hope you have a lovely month stitching. Bye.